Couple of months away from college football, and the story came out late last week. Texas and Ohio State and Alabama are playing. They scheduled a couple of big matchups in the future. And I love college football. I've always loved college football. I think it's gotten too regional over the last 10 years. It's too Southern, and the South has always been a huge component to it. I love SEC football, but it doesn't feel like Denver West it has the impact, or in the Northeast. So this year, Notre Dame's going to be very good. There's some northern teams, Michigan, Washington, Oregon, very good. And so we thought we'd go look at every week in the college football season and what is the big sandwich game? Because I watched the entire day of NFL. I cannot watch the entire day of college football, so I usually pick a game. And I'll watch highlights, YouTube it and watch highlights, but I'll pick a game. And here's the game I'm picking every week. Joy, here we go.
All right, week 1, Michigan at Washington, Alabama versus USC, North Dakota State at Oregon.
Pretty easy one for me, Michigan at Washington. Jim Harbaugh now, Urban Meyer's now out of the conference for now a second year. They have to find a new quarterback at Michigan. Shea Patterson is gone. Christian McCaffrey's brother, Dylan McCaffrey, is the leading candidate to be quarterback. And people are saying this is the best athlete. This is Harbaugh's guy. This is Harbaugh's Andrew Luck at Stanford. Washington's got a new coach. That means they have a new system, which is Washington is beatable. Michigan's more the national program. This in the Big Ten, which has gotten better during the last several years. This is a major misstep if Harbaugh loses out of conference to start the season. At $8 million a year, the howling starts for Harbaugh, so this is the game to watch. It'll be a sunny Seattle fall afternoon.
Surprised you didn't pick USC there. The nominees for week 2, Texas at LSU, Louisville at Clemson, Tennessee at Oklahoma, Ohio State at Oregon.
This is real easy for me. Texas at LSU. LSU won last year. This is the year Tom Herman's got to win now. So remember, LSU lost their coach Brady, Joe Burrow, four all-conference defensive players. Not that they're completely starting over. Texas should win this game. They've got Sam Ehlinger. They've got the senior quarterback. This is a game that Texas needs to win. Okay, these are the kind of games Tom Herman was hired for. Burrow's gone. Justin Jefferson, the receiver's gone. The 4 all-conference defenders are gone. The top offensive coach is gone. It's been a rough off year for Ed Orgeron. He's gone through a personal divorce. It's a little unsettled there right now. This is the moment for Texas. I'm all over that. It's my big sandwich game.
This is a strong week. Nominees for week 3, USC at Stanford, Georgia at Alabama, Auburn at Ole Miss.
Easy one, Georgia at Alabama. And Alabama has owned this series. But Georgia's put together now with Kirby Smart 3 straight unbelievable recruiting classes. Georgia this year may have better talent than Alabama. Nick Saban, though, is 19-0 against his former assistants. So this is not a game he loses. And Georgia's not beaten Alabama. They've lost 5 straight to them. I think this is the first year, if you look at recruiting, and you look at who Alabama lost, Tua. They lost Jedrick Wills, the best offensive lineman. They lost their top safety. They lost their best corner. I think Georgia's got better talent than Alabama this year. This is the year.
Saban and Belichick strong against their assistants.
Yeah.
All right, week 4, Miami at Michigan State, Florida at Tennessee, Oklahoma at Army, Wisconsin at Michigan.
I'm going to go Wisconsin-Michigan because Wisconsin hammered them last year. Jonathan Taylor's now gone. But again, if Michigan loses their first big game of the year to Washington, then their first big conference game, Harbaugh loses again. And remember, Wisconsin ranked top 10 in the country at some point in each of the last 4 years. So Wisconsin is rolling. Michigan has better players. So if the Washington turns into an L and Michigan loses here, you're in the oven if you are Jim Harbaugh. The heat is really turned up.
Week 5, Washington at Oregon, Penn State at Michigan, Notre Dame versus Wisconsin, Alabama at Ole Miss.
A lot of good. Really, this is a toughie. I'm just going to go Notre Dame, Wisconsin at Lambeau. I just want to see what it looks like. I just think this has the potential to be great. And also for Notre Dame, a lot of people have been critical of Brian Kelly because when he first got there, his face is turning purple. He's yelling and screaming. It wasn't classic, refined Notre Dame. He's winning 10 games a year. He's done a terrific job at Notre Dame. And they also have a quarterback, Ian Book, I like a lot. This is going to be one of those classic fall afternoons. First meeting of these two teams since the mid-'60s. I just think it'll look great. It'll be smash mouth football.
Week 6, Texas versus Oklahoma, LSU at Florida, Auburn at Georgia, Michigan at Michigan State.
Well, you're not going to get any SEC fans to watch the game I'm going to watch, but it'll be Texas-Oklahoma for two reasons. Number one, again, Tom Herman. This is a game Oklahoma has dominated, but we gave Tom a pass in the first couple years because Oklahoma was the reigning power and he's rebuilding the program. But Texas has not won the Big 12 championship in 11 years. In the last 11 Red River shootouts, Texas is 3-8. But I do believe if you follow recruiting, this is the closest Texas has been in terms of overall personnel to Oklahoma.
Week 7, Texas A&M at Auburn, Ohio State at Michigan State, Mississippi State at Alabama.
Ohio State at Michigan State is always an entertaining game. It's a game the Buckeyes have dominated. But now, remember, Ryan Day, 1 year after Urban Meyer, it's great. But the test has always been, when the superstar coach leaves, you know this, it's the second year without the legend. Oregon's second year without Chip Kelly, not the same program. Miami's second year of Larry Coker, maybe not quite as good. So now Urban's out for a full year. This is the second camp for Ryan Day. And I think Michigan State's got a football coach named Mel Tucker, who was at Colorado. Immediately when he got to Colorado, they were a significantly more physical football team. So keep your eye, potentially little bit of an upset. If that game ends up at night, little bit of an upset warning here. Michigan State's good enough to win.
Week 8, Stanford at Oregon, Ohio State at Penn State, Mississippi State at LSU, Alabama at Tennessee.
Ohio State, Penn State. Now, again, the Buckeyes have been winning this game. There have been some very close games. It'll be your classic whiteout game at Penn State. This will be a night game. A couple years ago, this game was on Fox. It was about as good as football can be. And again, James Franklin has done a remarkable job in recruiting. Penn State's not the easiest place to recruit for. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but I'd take that game.
Week 9. I don't know if I can guess which one you're going to pick here. Oklahoma at TCU, Florida versus Georgia, Nebraska at Ohio State.
Florida, Georgia. This is the best Florida team 10 years. So this is a great Florida team. And they have the best quarterback they've had since Tim Tebow, Kyle Trask. Georgia has better talent, but Dan Mullen's now the coach at Florida. So Dan was at Mississippi State. Dan's an offensive guy. So if you look at Dan Mullen's history, when you get him a quarterback and the quarterback comes into the second year with Dan Mullen, they score a lot of points. Florida's a little bit of my dark horse to make the national championship game. In any other conference, I think they could win the conference. I don't think they can get through the SEC this year. Both of these teams will be top 5 when they play. So this will be the game of the week.
Week 10, USC at Oregon, Florida State at Miami, Clemson at Notre Dame, Alabama at LSU.
I don't know how you're not going to watch Clemson at Notre Dame. So this is the national power. For the last 5 years, Clemson's been in the playoff. And then they go to Notre Dame, and everybody's going to think Clemson's going to roll. But Georgia went up to Notre Dame a couple years ago, Joy, and everybody thought Georgia was going to roll, and they were in a dogfight until the last 2 minutes of the game. This is going to be a night game. It's going to be, the big, heavy favorite Clemson. But Notre Dame, Ian Book, is good enough to pull off an upset. And it's been an interesting offseason for Clemson and Dabo Swinney.
Over Alabama, LSU?
I don't think LSU is very good this year. I think LSU is going to be a little bit. They're going to come unglued this year. I think Alabama's going to roll LSU this year. I think Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and Auburn. Keep your eye on.
All right, Week 11: Washington at USC, TCU at Texas, Tennessee at Georgia.
Again, I go back to TCU at Texas. So TCU beat them last year. Texas is supposed to win this game. So if Texas loses to LSU and loses to Oklahoma, this becomes, in many eyes, Tom Herman's job. Boosters will give you a loss to LSU or an Oklahoma. TCU is a little brother, cute little Fort Worth program with a great coach in Gary Patterson. If they beat them last year. If TCU knocks off Texas, the big old boosters, and Texas has several of them, are coming after Tom.
Week 12, USC at UCLA, LSU at Auburn, Texas A&M at Alabama.
I'll go LSU Auburn simply because it's the game before the game. I think LSU, watch this, what's going to happen. This is LSU. Auburn's going to win this game big, and you're going to start hearing Ed Orgeron questions. I swear to God this is going to happen. They are so impatient in the SEC. Gene Chizik won a national championship at Auburn. At the end of the following year, they were already hounding about him. A year later, he was fired. This is always a great game. Outside of Alabama, it's just nothing but NFL players.
Week 13, Notre Dame at USC, Auburn at Alabama, Florida at Florida State, LSU at Texas A&M, Michigan at Ohio State.
Okay, this is unfair.
It's very unfair.
This is the 1 week I tell my wife I'm watching 6 college games. But I have said this. I think the best college football game of the year is Auburn, Alabama, not Michigan, Ohio State. It's unbelievable. Auburn knocked him out of contention last year. This is, to me, the best college football game every year. The Iron Bowl, the intensity, and, say that all you want. Alabama's obviously a dynasty. Auburn always makes them uncomfortable. Auburn always
This is always a great game.
And it's just NFL people all over the place. I think it's become... of course, I'm going to watch USC Notre Dame. But this, to me, is the best game in college football. Has been probably for the last 10 years. Saban ramped it up. And Auburn wins just enough every third year to make it interesting. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.